We are mimicking a project called Dear Data, where essentially we have to pick something in our life and try and discover patterns in it. What I decided to do was to stop and actually think about how many times I say a phrase that is essentially the equivalent to I love you. So this could be me saying I love you, it could be me saying something like 사랑해요, which is I love you in Korean. Um Similar things of that nature, and I have several elements of which I am trying to decipher things. So I essentially have it narrowed down to three categories of who I say it to. If I say it to a family member, to a friend, or if I am saying it to or about something that is fictional or about a person who doesn't know I exist, i.e., celebrities. A good example of that is earlier today I was listening to the song Fashionable by Ravi and the first two artists that he had in his new record label, and so my mom and my aunt, pseudo aunt, for the sake of the statistics, came over and we started talking, but the music was still playing, so I just kind of instinctively said to my phone, Ravi, I love you, but shut up. And so I had to record that because I told Ravi that I love him, even though one, he can't hear, and two, he doesn't even know I exist. I also have to narrow things down to a couple of other statistics, which I have decided this is not going to be as relevant to the fiction or person who doesn't know I exist, but I'm also going to be making note of if me saying I love you is just me saying it, if I say it because someone else had said it first, or if I say it because someone initiated or there was physical connection involved, which is one of the 5 love languages, which is also like my primary love language. So I figured it would be a pretty decent thing to take into account, considering being like hugged or whatever, even if like my mom just puts her hand on my knee when we're sitting down, like that's how I feel loved. So chances are I'm going to respond accordingly. So far it is day 3 of recording. It's still Tuesday. It's 11:25 p.m. but still Tuesday. So it's been difficult, especially because the first 2 days I basically forgot to actually record my data until I went to bed, which is also why I started filming this on day 3. In that regard, I feel like my data for the first couple days is going to be a little bit off because I had to think back and think, okay, I said I love you to mom like 2 times in the morning, before church. I told my church family in like a moment of expressing thanks for things that my pastor does once a month. I was saying that I was blessed and that I felt like the church was my family and I loved them, so that was one, but I also it feels weird because I was saying it to one body, but I was saying it to like over 50 people, so I also feel a little oddly conflicted on how many people to write down for that, but it was only one time I didn't walk around saying I love you to like 100 different people, so I'll just mark it down as one probably. But I also had to sit there and think, this happened, so many times today, so I just kind of marked it as such. I've been trying to actually keep things in order so that when I eventually get my data together, I'm not going to just have like several lines on one thing, and I want it to kind of be more like a pattern per se, reflecting on later on in the day. I also feel like I've been able to say it a bit more today. It's weird. When I look back at my data, it was about half what I did today for the past like 2 days. I don't know if that's because I forgot to record or because I wasn't like cooped up in my room half the time finishing animation homework. So I'm wondering if I had more opportunity to actually, get out and say stuff to people as opposed to you know, Sunday, Monday, where it was like the only places I went were church and home. So who knows? And even then, my sister's away at college right now. She came back for Thanksgiving, but I still said I love you to people more times than I recorded the last couple of days, so I guess we'll see how that goes. Quick little post data collection note. It's a very important idea and factor that you don't tell anyone about this if they are going to influence your decisions. For instance, part of mine was whether or not I replied to someone saying I love you, and then basically the stroke of midnight on Sunday evening, after all of it was done, my dad came in, said goodnight, said I love you, I said I love you too, and then instantly my mom was like, gotta record. No, I don't have to record. And then I was just so relieved that I literally said, I don't have to record it. Then I wound up telling my dad the whole situation. And I guess he missed the entire aspect of I don't have to record anymore. Because he just started randomly saying, I love you, like 20 times. Well, it was weird because it wasn't like he would just pop up randomly being like, I love you. He was about to go to bed. So it was literally him just being there like, I love you too, I love you, I love you too, I love you. Like, Dad, what are you doing? And he was saying, well, you have to record every single time you say you love me. And I was like, did you miss the part where I said I don't have to anymore? So, don't know what he was doing with that. But knowing my dad, he would have turned this on me so fast if he knew about this. So I think I was pretty smart in keeping this whole ordeal to myself, and I found it wasn't all that odd because for the most part I kept my data on my phone. So I say I love you, walk away, pull out my phone, and record the data. Walking away and pulling out my phone's nothing new, I'm a millennial. And basically I forgot to record Sunday, Monday until the night, so my data's probably a little bit vinched because of that. And so those days are probably a little bit off, but also I think they're relatively accurate for how they were. Let me just grab my card here. For instance, let's look at Monday. Monday is all green. And in my mind, that kind of makes sense because on the one hand, it was Thanksgiving, and because of a certain situation happening in the province, we didn't go anywhere. So, I only saw my family that day, for one, and also my sister had to go back to Bible school that day, so a lot of the squigglies being me saying goodbye to her, so that's pretty accurate. Saturday, I was just swamped with homework, so I didn't do much, so it makes sense that there was only 5. I also go to bed later than most people in the house, so if I was just alone in my room or they thought I was doing something, then they probably wouldn't have said goodnight. So, in my opinion, things just kind of make sense and work out. One thing I will find odd though is it's probably just because I don't know if I just don't do it as often anymore or if it was just an odd week, but I only said the I love you situation to or about celebrities or fiction 4 times. Once on 4 separate days. Which might just be that I don't geek out with my friends as much anymore and we're all pretty busy with our own stuff. My closest group is of 3 people. If you watch my channel, you know who they are. 3 out of 4 of us are in school. 2 out of 4 of us work. And so, yeah, we're all a little busy, so we don't really have time to sit there and geek out about K-pop boys right now, so there's not as much of the, oh my goodness, I love him shenanigans. Although one of them was me saying I love this guy in reference to a drawing I did. Editing me will put him here because why not? Overall, in my mind, the data kind of makes sense. And in several cases, like even Wednesday, Thursday, Wednesday had more than I thought there would be because I don't have class until 7 p.m. So my parents wake up before I do because they actually have to go to work. My sister was at school, so she wasn't going to be back until basically 5 p.m. to help out with like the kids club at church on Wednesday nights. So I was home alone basically all day. And then Thursdays is a bit of a similar situation, except I basically have one class at 1:30. Thursday's a similar situation where I basically only said I love you about 5 times. And basically, I don't have class until 1, and then I have an online lecture at 7. So I'm kind of on my own for a lot of the day. So again, to me, these things kind of make sense that there's less data on select days. The data might be a bit off. I tried to recall the days as best as I could in the evenings, but overall, I think it is a relatively accurate, like, recording of data considering the dates. On Sunday, I go out because it's church. I'm with friends, I'm with my family, I'm doing whatever. Also, my sister leaves to go to school on Sundays when she comes home, so Monday, Thanksgiving. Tuesday, my mom doesn't work and we saw my pseudo-aunt, for a lack of better words. Wednesday on my own, Thursday basically on my own. Friday, I wasn't exactly on my own, but I also have a club meeting bi-weekly on Fridays, so I was occupied then, and I'm not really close enough with anyone in that club to willingly say I love you, or at least not awkwardly say I love you. And then Saturday, I was on my own, scrambling to get homework done. So again, in my opinion, this whole data situation is relatively accurate. I hope you enjoyed the video. I guess this is a very bizarre situation. It felt weird and creepy, honestly, having to record all of this. And even then, there are people that, like, record a lot more details, and the fact that we're submitting this to the school, if we had to keep doing this, by golly, I'd feel like the university is stalking me. So I'm glad this is it. I'm very, very glad this is it. So yeah, if you did enjoy the video and you are not someone who's only watching this to give me a grade, then give the video a thumbs up and maybe subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later because you survived, as did I. And I love ya. I don't have to record it, so don't even bother.